Will your financial foundation stand strong in a storm? Rich in Good offers wisdom for true wealth so that you can construct a solid foundation to richly enjoy all stages of your life. We talk about finance and faith that'll help you find meaning in money. Discover how to make money matter so that you can be rich in good.
Right, a hearty welcome to our Rich in Good podcast series with Henny du Plessis. Hi Henny.
Hi Willem.
We're in episode 16. Yeah, and Rich in Good has actually got a biblical foundation in 1 Timothy 6 where Paul says, warn those who are rich in this world, in other words, rich in earthly goods, to be rich, but to be rich in good. So this is what we do on this podcast. We're looking at faith and finance and how we can add meaning to our money. So a book that's blessed me tremendously many years ago is a book written by Ron Blue, Master Your Money. I may tell you something that you already know, but this is maybe just for our listeners and our viewers. I've been involved in the ministry of Walk Through the Bible for close on 30 years now. And I'm chairman of the board of Walk Through the Bible in South Africa, but way back in the late 90s. Walk Through the Bible did a video course on Ron Blue's Master Your Money. So it was one of our foundational courses with a lot of the other teaching material by people like Bruce Wilkinson and like later on Chip Ingram and the like. So this course has got the book and the course had a massive impact on the financial planning industry. And then it's not just Ron Blue and Company that Ron Blue started, but also National Christian Foundation and then also Kingdom Advisors. And we had a wonderful launch of a Kingdom Advisor-like event in South Africa end of last year. And you can listen till the end of the program, but then we'll share, some more work that we do in this space. But let's dive into the content of what we want to share. You can just maybe quickly recap on our episode 15, last week's episode, where we've spoken about the 5 short-term uses of money.
So if you can remember, for those that watched on the YouTube channel, the 5 buckets. So give, then the 2 different forms of owe, so debt and tax, then also your living expenses, and then out of that to flow through to your margin.
Yeah, right. So you can just maybe go back and watch that. But the important thing that Henny shares is the margin. So from your margin, you can basically allocate free cash flow into a couple of different other buckets. So let's just quickly list these. The one is financial independence, and this has got to do with your retirement in your old age. Then you may want to provide for some family needs. That can include your children's college education and even care for elderly or aging parents. You can more aggressively pay off debt. So if you've got any surplus and you've got debt and you're already making debt repayments among the 5 short-term uses of money, if you've got surplus cash flow, maybe you've got this trade-off, am I going to pay off debt quicker, or I'm going to save more aggressively for my retirement or my children's education, for instance. You can make lifestyle changes, right? And maybe you've lived in a very frugal way for many years and did not afford yourself, any niceties or luxuries. Maybe it's time to take your wife on that vacation. You can even be more generous. So although giving is one of the 5 uses of money, should actually be the first, you can give over and above your normal giving. And this means that where you may, if you're a Christian, be giving to your church, you can also look at other causes that you want to support and support ministries for bigger impact in the kingdom, for instance. So there you need to discern the Lord's will for your giving. And this made me think of a podcast that we recorded a couple of weeks ago. And it's got to do with starting businesses. So we found through the teaching of a rabbi in the conversation that we had, and we looked at basically 8 call it motivations and ways of giving. The 8th one was the best way to help a person, a poor person especially, is to help them to start a business. So if I can recall, I think that was episode 11. So people can just go back and rewatch that episode. But, start businesses to employ people, especially if you're entrepreneurial and you've got that gifting. You should really consider using that gift to create jobs.
I agree.
So these are the 6 what we would call longer term uses of money. So if you were to look on the screen, and this is specifically for people who watch on the video, for those of you who are listening to the podcast, it's basically the free cash flow that comes from your surplus, and then the 6 different buckets. The important thing is to determine your long-term objectives. So where funds are going to flow in terms of these 6 longer-term objectives, you actually have a lot more discretion about. So in the 5 short-term uses of money, if you pay debt, you must pay debt. If you must pay the tax man, you pay the tax man. Here, you're paying debt not because you have to, but you're more aggressively paying debt because you want to. And I think as a Christian, this specific part of financial planning is actually a very important space for stewardship, because this is where the individual Christian, or if you're married with your wife, should actually seek the Lord's face for direction and wisdom on what to do in your specific set of circumstances. Because there may be a time where you're more aggressively funding your children's education and you don't want to incur study debt for them. But hopefully, when they finish studying and they go and work and they're out of the nest, like what's happening to me and my wife now, you can more aggressively save for your old age again and things like that. So you really need to discern what's the right thing with these 6 longer term uses of money for your circumstances. I think the big trap that a lot of Christians get sort of ensnared into is to use a lot of this margin just to increase their lifestyle. And I don't think that's necessarily being a good steward.
I think in the previous episodes we also spoke about a dollar spent is a dollar gone.
Yes.
So you've got, this is where it becomes very important to have those long-term objectives and have someone keeping you accountable, journeying through with you. But again, unless it's for saving or paying into debt, that's possibly money that you'll be able to get back. But all of the other buckets, it's sort of a situation. If it's spent, it's gone. So be very responsible with that extra planning and have a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year, 15-year plan, besides just a retirement plan, which is important with this.
And without giving a lecture in sort of investment planning. But let's say in one of these buckets, your goal is not necessarily just to fund your children's education, but maybe your grandchildren's education in 20 years' time. The kind of portfolio that you select there can be a very aggressive equity kind of portfolio with high risk kind of, but maybe more volatile, but high quality stocks. So you must also link these different goals to different kinds of portfolios. Super. So Henny, we shared this a couple of weeks ago, but this is something that's fast approaching in Leave a Lasting Legacy, under which we do our Rich in Good podcast. One of the initiatives that we have there is our Ride for the Reason. It's a mountain bike event in Oudtshoorn in South Africa, where you cycle 361 kilometers in 36 hours, and it's sort of, riding full circle. For those of you who say, I'm not an ultra marathon mountain biker, you can also do this in stages of, let's say, a team of 4 or 2. We've done this for 6 years in a row. This year is our 8th year. And we'd really like to invite mountain bikers who want to come and cycle with us in this event, where we raise funds for a Bible translation for an unreached people group in North Africa, please reach out. Can you give us the date of the event?
So May 24th to the 26th.
Yeah. So we'll share contact details now, but please reach out and form part of that. We shared about our advisors for the Nations Conference. You can also make contact on us about the advisors for the Nations Conference. That's later in the year. That's a date early in October, I think the 3rd to the 6th of October. Okay. You can watch some of the previous podcasts. On some of those podcasts, we do give more details. But I think, there's a lot of education that can happen in our churches. Yeah. But it must come from our advisors, financial advisors, wealth managers, tax advisors, attorneys, accountants, all kind of people. But we found a gem. It's a wonderful resource. It's a little booklet written by Chip Ingram. Maybe you want to share a little bit about this.
I think the tagline on the book, the generous living is joyful living. So I think that's just to be able to, I wouldn't even say teach people, just to be able to share this with people, just to within a church. So our idea here is that we actually want to approach ministers, pastors, advisors that are in churches. We've got a small outcome that we want to achieve by this, by watching a certain video that you can ask us about. But then we want to bless that individual with this booklet to work through, to read through, and it's really profound. And then we've also got a workbook that we want to share with a group of 4, 5, 6 people just coming together that want to work through the short course. So it's available in English and in Afrikaans. So it's really just a nice way just to dive deeper into this whole topic of generosity. And I think that needs to grow organically in churches. So it's not necessarily just a preach from the pulpit. It's just a journey with guys that are gifted in finances and guys that really want the answers on generosity and giving and how to get this. Just to we will just want to bless churches with this. So.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful resource that churches can use just to free up more funds. Yeah. For kingdom work and just generous giving and impact in the kingdom. Right. Henny, I think our viewers and our listeners are waiting for our contact details. You can quickly share that.
Yeah, so please make contact with us at info@rig.ac. Give us a call at 086 12 21 777. We'd love to hear from you. Just any comments, any support. I think just during this whole journey, we just want to spend time together. I think that's the whole idea with this. So.
Right. Thank you, Henny. Thanks for sharing. Thank you also to all our listeners, our viewers. If this is a blessing to you, don't keep it to yourself. Let's spread this around by liking this and sharing this. Till next time. Keep well. Bye-bye.